the strongest Awakener squad in the world, God's Legion, faces off against the SSS rank Demon King, Belphegor, a creature wielding 5 elemental powers. As Andy leads the squad forward, Belphegor unleashes a deafening roar, his monstrous presence shaking the battlefield. Their mission is clear: assist the supreme authority, known only as God, in purging high-level demon lairs. This is the 100th such lair they've faced. Han Xiaolin, a L-rank cloud mage, begins by freezing the area with a spell Glacier World, then follows it with healing spells and a mix of lightning magic to attack the demon. L-rank missions are the highest in difficulty, but they've been promised a short break once this one is completed. Luke Xian, God's Legion support and an L-rank galaxy conductor, activates Starfall gravitational pull. This boost enhances their strength by 200%, doubles their speed, and multiplies gravity output by 100 times. Magical chaos erupts as their abilities collide across the battlefield. With the stage prepared, Andy steps forward and finishes the monster in one clean, sweeping strike. He stands tall, having just defeated Belphegor. As the captain warrior of God's Legion and an L-rank nuclear element holy swordsman, Andy had led them to yet another swift victory. Despite the success, the mage complains that the battle ended too quickly to be satisfying. Bao Li, less concerned, says she might go hunt a few demon lairs just for fun. This mission had been rated top tier, with their entire squad deployed. The others begin asking Andy if he too finds it odd that it ended so easily, especially considering how much pressure they'd been under beforehand. Andy thinks quietly, remembering how the intel described Belphegor as a unique demon king, one with 5 elements and an unknown skill. Suddenly, one of the female teammates approaches Andy and teasingly asks whether, now that they're getting some time off, he plans to treat everyone to a big meal. She jokes that she'd even be fine if only she gets invited. Andy chuckles, pats her cheek, and replies that he'll gather everyone at their usual hangout in the holy city. She sighs internally, realizing she missed another chance to surprise him. The mage quips that maybe Andy just doesn't understand women at all. Andy then pauses and asks whether that guy had followed them. The others reply that he stayed behind to clean up the aftermath and didn't participate in the battle against Belphegor. One of them adds that he's always the slowest, and the mage mutters that he's also the biggest slacker. Suddenly, the real L-rank purification mission activates. A mysterious figure, watching from afar, initiates the sequence. Immediately, the team notices that Xiaolin is down. The figure steps forward and reveals himself as the true agent of this mission, one chosen by God. Andy tries to move, but his body is paralyzed. The traitor explains that a paralyzing powder had been mixed into their meals for the past month, and it's now taking full effect. He then activates God's skill, Flower Forbidden Tendrils. His goal is clear: to take down the strongest among them. Confused and alarmed, Andy wonders aloud what's wrong with this guy, asking himself if the man took the wrong medicine or simply went insane. Another teammate echoes the confusion, demanding to know what he's trying to do. The traitor calmly states that this is God's will, and that the true L-rank purification mission was meant to eliminate them all. As the tendrils tighten around the team, crushing them further, they scream for help. Andy remains frozen, unable to lift a finger. Desperate, he shouts, asking why the traitor wants to wipe them out. He insists that God's Legion has never done anything wrong. He pleads, wondering which god ordered this and by what right this is happening. The traitor kneels before him and quietly tells Andy that he's still as naive as ever. As he deals the final blow, he coldly asks whether a god even needs a reason to destroy his own creations. Andy, barely conscious, asks whether this is truly about a god, or if this man, who had fought beside them for years, had betrayed them by choice. He reminds him that they were comrades for over a decade and should have been like family by now. But the traitor clearly holds no such sentiment. He scorns Andy's disbelief, saying that he still doesn't understand. From the very first day they met, he explains, God had already placed the pieces on the board. They were always just pawns in a greater game. For years, the traitor played his role, building trust with them, even though it disgusted him. But he still did his job. May 22nd, 2125. All members confirmed dead. The L-rank purification mission is complete. Finally, the traitor breathes a sigh of relief. He can finally rest. As Andy sinks into darkness, a voice echoes in his mind, asking whether he would like to make a deal. Andy awakens, chained in a strange space. A figure approaches and mockingly calls him handsome. Andy immediately recognizes the being Belphegor. He demands to know how Belphegor is alive, reminding him that God's Legion defeated him. Belphegor smiles and explains that no SSS-rank demon king could be brought down so easily. He tells Andy that this place is is his soul space, and that the entire Ney country is where his true life resides. Wasting no time, Belphegor offers Andy a deal. He says he can feel the hatred growing inside Andy, the same way it once festered within him. Belphegor's hidden skill, life reversion, allows one to return to the distant past, to rewrite fate. He asks Andy whether that idea interests him. Andy thinks of his fallen comrades, the joy, the laughter, and then remembers the traitor who stole all of it away. He silently decides that he wants only one thing: revenge on that traitor and on the gods who played them all. Belphegor grins, saying that this is the answer he expected. He tells Andy that this will be his welcoming gift, and then holds out a heart. Andy hesitates. He wonders why Belphegor would help him, and what the price might be. But Belphegor simply places the heart in his hand. The darkness begins to fade. A voice reaches Andy's ears, urging him not to fall asleep and to get up. He opens his eyes. The year is 2105. Saint Nation subsidiary, J Nation Awakener School Junior High Division. Andy gasps in disbelief. He's truly back to a time before he even awakened. The lady scolds Andy, saying that while it's one thing to mess around in class on a regular day, the fact that he's still asleep when they're supposed to be choosing professions that afternoon is starting to get seriously annoying. She orders him to stand at the back of the class. As Andy rises, he immediately recognizes the woman standing before him, Teacher Huang. The realization hits him hard. He's back in junior high. He's really been reborn. Andy begins to wonder if this is the result of Belphegor's ability. If it is, then it's beyond anything he imagined, unbelievable and incredible. His eyes scan the room. These classmates, he hasn't seen them in almost 20 years. Huang resumes the lesson and reminds the class to pay attention. She explains that there are 5 elemental powers in their world: light, lightning, fire, cloud, core, and star. However, she notes each person can only possess one elemental type. She uses herself as an example, stating that she holds the rarest of them all, the cloud element. She goes on to explain that depending on how the elemental energy combines with an individual's body, awakeners are divided into 3 general types: combat, utility, and special. Thanks to the variation of elements and categories, countless professions have emerged over time. Huang describes how their school's top guild is made up of a star mage, a cloud warrior, a core bard, and a lightning assassin. She tells the students that to even be considered for awakening already puts them ahead of most people. They are surrounded by applause and praise in their prime. However, she emphasizes that today is their most important day. She explains that there are nearly 100 known awakened professions, categorized by quality: dust, firefly, abyss, and skyglow, from the lowest to the highest. And for every person, the chance to awaken a profession comes only once. She reminds them that this afternoon, when their profession is determined, their status in the world will be sealed. After class, Andy takes a moment to look around and realizes just how much he missed this time of his life. This was where he had first awakened. Then he notices a kid falling down. It wasn't an accident. A group of rowdy students is pushing him around, trying to show off. One of them laughs, sneering that these kinds of people are just trash who need artificial help to awaken. Another grips the fallen boy's wrist and starts crushing it, asking how dare he block their way. The bully mocks him further, wondering if the kid thinks he's special just because he's about to awaken. He makes it clear that in front of someone like himself, someone with a red quality profession, the others will always remain juniors. Andy recognizes the boy. His name is Hong Chong Shang, an E-class star assassin with an unknown background. In Andy's past life, Hong often clashed with classmates. He always had this hyper-aggressive, dominant nature, constantly seeking out fights. Teacher Huang suddenly steps in and tells Hong that he's gone far enough. This is still a school, after all. She questions whether they were about to rob the kid. Hong turns and greets her with a smug look, pretending that the fallen student had simply run into them and should, therefore, compensate them with a cup of milk tea each. Inwardly, Hong sneers, thinking that this teacher is trying to act tough just because she's fond of her student. If it weren't for her looks, he reflects, he would have seen to it she was thrown out of the school long ago. Huang walks over to the injured student and gently asks if he's okay. Hong shrugs it off and decides to leave. He figures he'll give the teacher some face and let things slide, for now. But as he turns to go, he locks eyes with Andy. Hong approaches him and places a hand on Andy's shoulder, pulling him aside. With a cocky smile, he says he'll come back later to laugh at these weaklings. The injured student apologizes, blaming himself for being careless. But Huang reassures him, telling him he did nothing wrong. Andy watches her and thinks about how she always had a sharp tongue but a soft heart. She had helped him a lot after his awakening back then. Soon after, it's announced that Huang's class is next to enter the awakening chamber. She gathers everyone and reminds them that during the awakening process, it's crucial to stay mentally grounded. Losing control of one's emotions during the procedure could lead to injury. She explains that there are two known methods of awakening. The first is natural awakening, like Hong Chang Shang experienced. It typically happens to those with inherently strong physiques and potential, usually triggered in moments of extreme emotion. The second is through the awakening special chamber, a marvel of modern science, designed to artificially catalyze emotions and adrenaline, facilitating an artificial awakening. Because this opportunity only comes once, and the outcome is entirely random, awakening one's profession is considered the most pivotal moment in determining one's fate. Soon, it's Andy's turn. Huang looks at him and urges him to focus, not to act like he did during class. He needs to be serious now. Andy nods and tells her that he knows exactly what he's doing. In his previous life, he had awakened as an E-class core warrior, a dust-quality profession. Because of that, he was looked down upon and bullied. It was only much later, after advancing to Class S, that he awakened the rarest type. He believes he still holds the core element within him, but he wonders what profession he will awaken this time. As he steps into the chamber, a message flashes before him. Awakening system has detected an error, and he freezes. Something is different. The system reports that 5 elements have been detected within him. Even Andy is stunned. Something inside him feels heated, strange, unfamiliar. Then, a second message appears. Infinite Awakening System activated. The system spirals into chaos the moment it detects Andy's condition. He possesses 5 elemental types within his body. A message appears, informing him that he now has the unprecedented ability to activate any class from any element as his initial profession. Thereafter, as he gathers energy from a specific element, he will have the option to either acquire a new random class related to that element or upgrade his existing one. Andy reads the message, trying to process it. He frowns and quietly wonders what element accumulation even means. But as he thinks more about it, the meaning becomes clear. Not only does he get to choose the element and profession he's awakening with, he can later acquire more classes as he continues to grow, classes of any quality. Dust, Firefly, Abyss, Skyglow, even the special class tier. However, he notes that only his first class can be manually chosen. The rest will be assigned randomly once he has built up enough elemental energy. Then, from the shadows of the chamber, Belphegor appears once again. He calmly says he's here to give Andy another hand. Andy stares at him in disbelief, wondering how Belphegor is still alive. But then it hits him, this power, this system, this second chance, all of it was thanks to him. Belphegor is the one who gave him the power of infinite awakening. A final system message flashes before him. Once Andy selects his initial class, all elemental energy bars will reset. He needs to choose carefully. Outside the chamber, the students start whispering among themselves, confused by the delay. Some mutter about why Andy is taking so long. Finally, the door opens and Andy steps out. Teacher Huang rushes toward him, eyes sparkling with anticipation, and asks what class he awakened. But Andy puts on a dejected expression and quietly apologizes. He tells her he awakened as a nuclear warrior, the lowest green quality class. Huang's face stiffens with disappointment for a moment, but then she forces a reassuring smile and tells him it's okay. Even with a green quality profession, there have been many exceptional people. She encourages him not to give up and says the world still has room for someone like him. Andy tells her there's no need to sugarcoat it, but Huang gently replies that she understands how disheartened he must feel. For now, she simply urges him to rest. Awakening takes a toll on the body. Just then, a familiar voice bursts into laughter. The bully from earlier, Hong Chang Shang, claps mockingly and repeats Huang's words with exaggerated cheer, sarcastically echoing that if Andy works hard, the world won't let him down. He laughs even harder, remarking that he once thought Teacher Huang was competent, but now he wonders how someone capable could spew such idealistic nonsense. He claims she's lying to protect Andy, hiding the real truth. In this world, dust tier quality means you're at the very bottom. That's just how it is. According to him, God only chooses the strong, and the weak are born to be crushed. At the mention of God, Andy's expression darkens. A storm brews in his chest. Teacher Huang narrows her eyes and demands to know why Hong is still there. But Hong only smirks and says that dust-tier awakeners should now take their proper place, in the back row where they belong. He then turns to the teacher and casually asks why that should be surprising. He starts explaining, with the arrogance of someone who believes he's simply stating facts, that those without strength, background, or a future are always pushed aside. The strong get better resources, better training, and more opportunities, and in return, they only become stronger. He declares that dust-tier weaklings are destined from the moment of awakening to be nothing more than expendable soldiers in the Awakener system. What's this talk of hard work or hidden genius? It's all fantasy. Everyone's life, he says, is decided at birth. He raises his hand, gesturing around the room, and calls the school a microcosm of the real world. Then, turning back to Huang, he says that even she, with her firefly-tier profession, is barely hanging on, nothing more than a freeloader. And as for dust-tier students like Andy, he tells them they should go home early and stop wasting government funds. But before he can say another word, Andy grabs his water cup and splashes the contents right into Hong's face. Hong stumbles back, stunned, and demands to know what Andy thinks he's doing. Andy stares him down and calmly replies that he simply doesn't like listening to him talk. The bully wipes his face, lips curling into a feral grin. Then, without warning, he lunges forward with a punch, his strength amplified by awakened power. The teacher tries to intervene, shouting for him to stop, but her voice trails behind the moment. Hong attacks using Starthorn Thrust, a raw and aggressive strike typical of star assassins. He growls that Andy has just asked for death, but to his utter shock, Andy begins channeling his own energy. A warm glow surrounds him. In a flash, he blocks the incoming attack. The blow is not just stopped, it's reflected. Hong is sent flying backwards, tumbling across the floor and crashing into the dust. He lifts his head, dazed, and sees Andy standing tall, holding a glowing light-infused sword in hand. The weapon shimmers with a subtle pulse, and the entire room goes silent. The watching students erupt in whispers. None of them can believe what just happened. They murmur in disbelief, trying to understand how Andy, a newly awakened green-tier class, could possibly do that. Andy explains that the nuclear warrior class comes with a basic light sword, which grants 20 attack power and 20 evasion. He says he just got used to it. Still dazed, Hong staggers to his feet and starts laughing again. He insists Andy must have gotten lucky, that it was just a fluke. He reminds everyone that he is Abyss tier on an entirely different level. Andy, he claims, is nothing but low-grade trash. But Andy calmly says that wasn't luck. Even teacher Huang is shocked. She steps forward and confirms that what Andy used was Gibalg, a top-tier movement technique exclusive to warrior classes. She explains to the class that Gibalg activates the instant a maximum attack is received. If timed perfectly, it nullifies all incoming physical damage and reflects it back to the attacker within 0.09 seconds, a reaction speed few can master. Triggering it again within that window allows for a second full reflection. She admits that her own master trained for 10 years and still failed to master it. Yet Andy, who only awakened today and has no formal combat training, had executed it perfectly. She wonders silently, how is this even possible? Hong, however, is too blinded by pride to care. He draws a knife from his coat and snarls that Andy better prepare to die. He calls him garbage and declares he'll humiliate him in front of the whole class. Andy doesn't move. His eyes are steady. The glow from his sword remains. He knows exactly what he's doing. Choosing what appeared to be the weakest class was never a mistake. It was a strategy. He thinks to himself that judging a person's future based on their birth, status, or first profession is a mistake Hong will only realize years too late. Everyone watching wonders if the two are actually going to duel. Using awakened powers for personal fights within the school is strictly forbidden, and right now there are too many people watching. The crowd is uncertain whether they'll really go through with it and break the rules, but everyone knows the background of the two. Hong Chongshang's father is a high-ranking official, and his uncle is the school's director. Andy, on the other hand, comes from a poor family with no connections, so it's clear to everyone watching. If Andy accepts the challenge and makes a move, he'll be the one who gets expelled. They now wonder what the teacher should even do. Huang steps in between them and reminds them that everyone awakened just today. They could very well end up as teammates in the future. She hopes they will stop being impulsive and back off, but the bully treats her words like a joke. In his mind, Andy had already provoked him too openly. There's no way he's going to let it slide now. Even if Andy were to kneel down and beg for mercy, it would be useless. He wants to show everyone the unbridgeable gap between someone chosen and someone who's a nobody. Even Andy knows how wide the gap is. The difference lies in attribute bonuses. Dust Mote quality gives no bonus, 100%. Firefly quality gives a 150% bonus. Abyss Peak grants a 200% bonus. This is why Chong is so confident. From the moment of awakening, Someone with Abyss Peak quality has double the attributes of someone with Dust Mote quality. It's a gap that simply can't be closed. Whether it's strength or social status, Andy is completely overwhelmed. That's what the teacher believes and what everyone else believes too. So they wonder why Andy would provoke someone stronger. People like Hong Chang-shang are indeed detestable, but in this society, they think survival demands avoidance, not confrontation. One must learn to swallow their pride. Knowing when to yield and when to resist is the key to surviving. Direct confrontation, they believe, is foolish and leads only to deeper humiliation. As these thoughts swirl among the crowd, Chang charges forward with his knife. Huang shouts for Andy to be careful. The teacher wonders if Andy will attempt to block, but blocking costs stamina, and Chang's attack power is high, his speed too fast. According to the teacher, there's no way Andy can respond in time. Even the bully expects an awkward dodge, wanting to see how Andy scrambles this time. But Andy isn't even thinking about dodging. He questions internally why he would bother at all, and then activates Flash Step. When the haste skill reaches 100%, Flash Step can be triggered. It allows one to pass through obstacles instantly. As a result, Chang doesn't even get to land his strike. He's left surprised, unsure of how and when he missed his target. Then, turning around, he sees Andy standing behind him and realizes he's the one who got injured. He can't comprehend it. How could trash like Andy have done this? Everyone around is shocked. To them, it looked like Chang simply fell over on his own. Some even laugh, thinking maybe he slipped. Even the teacher didn't see what happened. Meanwhile, a girl silently observes everything. The moment Chang attacked, she notes, Andy activated the advanced warrior exclusive skill, Flash Step. Something must have happened in that instant. But what? How did he manage to strike so effectively in such a short time? Whatever it was, it ended the fight in a single hit. The class monitor, Chi-een, watches closely. She realizes that Andy not only mastered the highest level usage of basic warrior skills, but was also able to apply them fluidly in actual combat. She isn't the only one trying to make sense of it. Others, too, wonder what happened. Why did Hong Chang-shang fall so easily? Why did Andy break the rules in front of everyone? Suddenly, a notification appears in front of Andy. Experience increased. Class EXP plus 50. Current EXP 50 out of 1000. Elemental accumulation plus 50 starfall points for heavily wounding an E-rank elemental opponent. Andy confirms his suspicion, using his class in combat grants experience. Defeating elemental opponents also rewards elemental points. But 50 points isn't much. He realizes he needs to clear monster dungeons to level up faster. The bully, still lying on the ground, is seething. He shouts at Andy not to think he can just walk away. Grabbing his sword, he rushes Andy again from behind. But a loud voice booms, "That's enough!" It's Hong Liang, the director of Awakening Academy Junior High, and the bully's uncle. He asks if they're not embarrassed enough already. Then he tells the crowd to disperse, saying everyone must be tired from today's awakening and should go home, report their classes to their families, and rest. It's the weekend, after all. The mention of home causes Andy to pause. But then the director turns toward Andy and questions him sharply. Does he not know that the school strictly forbids fighting with awakened powers? Andy doesn't answer. His thoughts drift. Because he reincarnated, he didn't react right away. He's gone back 20 years, which means they're all still alive. It's May 22nd, 2105, Awakening Day. But something else happened that day. He's ashamed for forgetting such a crucial detail. It's the most important thing, and he ignored it. Ignoring the director's scolding, he breaks into a run. The director and Huang simply watch him go. Then the director points at Huang, telling her to keep her student under control. He says he'll let this incident slide for today. Huang bows and apologizes. Later, in the director's office, the bully complains. He says he would never have lost if not for some unexpected problems. The director cuts him off and calls it nonsense. He asks if he even knows what that kid did. Right before Chang could make contact, Andy used the advanced skill Flash Step. But more importantly, just before he vanished, he found the weakest point in Chang's body and struck it with precision. It left Chang completely defenseless. And all of it, every action, was executed using just basic warrior skills. The director admits that even with 15 years of battlefield experience, he might not have been able to use those techniques as skillfully. He compares the fight to a professional gamer toying with a max-level elementary schooler using only basic controls. He concludes that Andy is far from ordinary. Meanwhile, Andy is still running. If there's anything he must do after reincarnating besides seeking revenge, it's this one thing. As he reaches a certain location, he remembers the figure he once saw, a man shrouded in a dark aura. Back then, he was helpless. But now, even if it kills him, he must stop what's about to happen. There's a guy just chilling in front of the TV, his wife next to him. Outside the window, Andy is watching them quietly. After a moment, he heads inside. They notice him right away and mention how early he's back from school. But the second Andy sees his mom, he gets overwhelmed with emotion. It just hits him how lucky he is that she's still alive. She's all smiles, happy to see him too, completely unaware of what's about to happen. She tells him she's cooking his favorite hot and sour noodles. Andy, though, says he feels like eating pickled fish today. She laughs a little and says that'll be for tomorrow since today's meal is already cooking. But Andy really pushes for it. He wants it today badly. Seeing how serious he is, she gives in. Andy then says he'll tag along with her. But his dad cuts in, saying there's no need, she can go by herself. He also complains that Andy didn't even bother to say hi to him. Then the dad brings up Awakening Day, clearly excited, and asks what Andy awakened as. He even starts getting the drinks ready, saying he finished work early just to celebrate. Andy just tells him flatly that it didn't happen today. Things took too long, and they couldn't even figure out what class he got. That hits the dad like a slap. He snaps, wondering why Andy came home early then. He starts comparing him to someone else's kid who awakened as a firefly tear. Says both of them, him and Andy, are useless. He had hoped Andy would awaken as at least a deep mountain tear like he did back in the day, without any help or resources. Now, after everything he's done to support Andy, this is the result. His temper builds fast. His whole presence turns intense as he demands again to know Andy's class. Andy stays quiet. That's when his dad loses it and smashes a bottle over his head. He mutters that Andy's probably just a dust tear. Even though this man is his father, it's clear he's always been violent and out of control. Time seems to slow for Andy. The memories come rushing back. He remembers this day in his past life, the day everything went wrong. When his dad found out he was dust tear, he went into a rage and beat the crap out of him. Andy had been too scared and powerless to do anything. Like always, his mom had tried to shield him. His dad beat her for an hour that day. Her leg was broken, and she hit her head so hard she was never the same afterward. Andy had cried like crazy that day. But this time, things are different. Yeah, he only awakened as an E-tier nuclear warrior, and sure, it's not flashy, but he picked that class for a reason. It has potential. It's just not ready to shine yet. His dad, though, is a whole different beast. A C-tier deep mountain awakener, with loads of combat experience, way stronger than someone like Hong Chong Shang from school. And he knows he can't win right now. His dad keeps ranting about how he regrets ever having him. Says he's not letting this go until he gets an answer. And he realizes he's got to act fast. His mom needs to get out of this house now. Then, out of nowhere, he hears something drop. A bag. His mom's back already. Way earlier than expected. He's surprised. Maybe she hurried back for his sake. She tells him she couldn't let him go hungry, so she came back early. But instead of appreciating it, the dad just snarls at her, saying she should take a look at the useless kid she gave birth to. Later, we cut to a guy talking about the person sitting near him, apparently the first green class evolver he's ever come across. Normally, a class has to be at least blue and reach A rank before evolution's even possible. So now, this guy's brain is doing flips like, how did someone evolve this early? And even crazier, he's starting to wonder if that evolution skipped straight from green to platinum gold, a 1 in a million kind of jump. He's burning with curiosity, especially since this place they're in, it's not your regular holding cell. This is where only death row inmates are brought in. But the guy across from him, who looks a lot like Andy, doesn't really care what others are thinking. He just mutters that the man he took down deserved it, because the last thing he could tolerate was someone beating his mom to that point. He still remembers it clearly, how it all unfolded right in front of his eyes. His father had been completely consumed by rage. As an awakened, even without using any actual skills, he was way stronger than normal folks. Just a basic punch from someone like that is enough to hospitalize a regular person. But when he tried to go after Andy, his mother stepped in without hesitation. She got in the way, trying to protect him, but it was too late. He remembers his dad saying that when he found out they were having a son, he'd been genuinely happy, thought it was finally his chance to redeem the family name. The other two sons from the extended family couldn't produce a male heir, so everything was riding on him now, to bring honor to their ancestors or whatever twisted idea he had of legacy. The mother had broken down in tears, asking why it had to be like this, but the man didn't listen. He just kept yelling, demanding to know why their son awakened into something as pathetic as a green class. Called him a good-for-nothing who'd never even evolve, and then blamed her for it, saying it was all because of her weak genes. And just as he was about to strike again, this time with flash step, Andy had jumped between them. The force that was meant to crush her ended up slamming right into Andy instead. That's when Andy told him to back off, stay away from his mom. But instead of backing down, the father got excited, said it was interesting to see his son finally growing a spine, said it was good, very good even, but he also chuckled, saying it would still take a while before Andy was truly strong. In his head, he was already planning, thinking he had to suppress the kid before he became a real threat. The next blow came in fast, and even though Andy tried to block it, his sword snapped clean in two. The attack tore through his defense like paper. The gap in their strength was just too massive. Andy's ribs screamed in pain, on the verge of breaking. But his father wasn't the kind to tolerate defiance. So he went all in and used heavy black thunder on Andy, all while the boy was still standing there, trying to protect his mother. The man had turned into a monster. Andy, in that moment, realized something terrifying. He couldn't even dodge anymore. His body just couldn't take it. His mother stood there, eyes wide with horror, unable to do anything. Then the father, now looking barely human, asked if Andy was being too reckless, like this was just some fun little spar. But Andy had already made up his mind. He wasn't moving. No more running. No more crying. The father noticed the change, admitted Andy finally had some backbone, but in his twisted way of thinking, that just made it more satisfying to break him. In his eyes, Andy was still just a weakling with a useless class, someone better off gone from this world. But Andy wasn't going to let the same tragedy happen again. Not this time. His dad sneered, saying just because Andy had awakened didn't mean he was some hotshot. Then he grabbed a nearby chair, ready to smash it over Andy, all while mocking him, saying he doesn't even recognize his own dad anymore. But then, loud pounding on the door. A voice called out, demanding it be opened immediately. The father froze, confused. Who the hell was ruining the fun at a time like this? Andy, though? He knew. He planned this. When the door finally swung open, in walked Deputy Captain of the Inspection Team, Red A-Rank Divine Caster, Li Yong, with his teammate Blue C-Rank Inspector, Chun Jinwoo. They asked why the door hadn't been opened yet. What exactly was he so busy doing? That's when reality hit the father. He looked stunned, totally thrown off by who was standing there. Why was his deputy captain suddenly in his home? The captain casually explained that they'd received reports that the fugitive known as Snow had been seen near this area, so they were checking every unit one by one. He even held up a wanted poster and asked if they'd seen anyone suspicious. The father laughed it off, said that guy's face is all over the news. If he'd seen him, of course he'd report it. In the background, Andy's mother finally let out a small breath, a little relief at last. But then the deputy looked closer and spotted Andy. He asked what happened, why was the boy injured? The father clapped the man's shoulder and brushed it off, said the kid was just clumsy. Sent him out for groceries and he managed to trip on something, nothing serious. But Andy cut in, furious, and told the truth. His father had hit him. The room went silent. The father froze, clearly not expecting Andy to speak up like that. About 18 minutes ago, downstairs, Andy had made a call from a small shop across the street. He told them he saw someone going into Building A of ZU Mansion who looked exactly like Snow, the same guy who's been all over the internet. Now, in the present, Andy's thinking back to that call. It's what brought the inspection team to this floor. If the security team finds out Snow might be here, they'll definitely respond in full force. Andy figured they'd investigate eventually, but he didn't expect them to act this fast. Still, it looks like he has just enough time. Then, one of the deputies turns to Andy's father and asks if what the kid said is actually true. The father just laughs nervously and says he was just joking around. How could he ever hurt his own son? Says it breaks his heart just thinking about it. But before he can finish his sentence, Andy cuts in, calmly listing off all the injuries. His arm was hit by a stool, his head got smacked with a wine bottle, he got punched here, kicked there. All of it visible and verifiable right now. Both the deputy and the father go quiet, not sure how to respond. Andy goes on to explain that under the Divine Canon Awakened Management Regulations, Chapter 8, Article 4, any awakened person who can't control their violent impulses and harms others has to be detained immediately. The penalty is 15 days in an awakened prison. The deputies are shocked that this kid not only knows the law, but can recite it like a pro. The father loses it and shouts Andy's name, but the deputy quickly steps in and tells him to calm down. He introduces himself as Li Yong from the inspector team and says that he's placing him under arrest. He reminds him of his right to remain silent. As the father continues yelling and cursing at Andy, the deputies hold him down, warning him that if he resists, they'll use force. Even while being dragged out, the father won't stop screaming. Once he's finally gone, the whole room feels lighter. Andy's mom rushes forward and hugs him tightly, and Andy comforts her, telling her everything's going to be okay now. In his mind, he's just glad he was able to protect her this time. 15 days, that's how long he's got. He quietly tells his mom that this is the last time anything like this will happen. He'll use these days to get stronger. He's not letting this pain go to waste. Unseen by anyone, he'd swiped the safe key from his dad, the same key his father once betrayed his own teammates for. That very thing had helped Andy climb from the bottom of the E rank to C rank in his last life. He heads to the safe, hidden in the most secret corner of his room. Nobody else in his family even knows it exists. In his previous life, he only found out about it after he died. This time, with the safe, he plans to swallow the demon's Denver. It's the only way to upgrade his profession now. Problem is, all demon dens are controlled by the Divine Guild, and without being in a guild himself, Andy can't enter most of them. His only choices are school-managed ones or the few that remain hidden. We cut to Andy finding one of those, an undiscovered, hidden demon Denver. He knows that he needs to move fast. He has to get stronger than anyone else, and fast. The demon den is full of monsters. Fighting them gives you experience, boosts your level, and increases your combat ability. It's the only path forward. The profession levels go from E, D, C, B up to A. It's May 22nd, 2105, Friday, 2202. Meanwhile, back at the inspectorate detention room, some officers are discussing how this case had the whole team on edge. Even the vice captain had been dispatched, and still, they found nothing. They wonder if it was just a false alarm, but agree that when it comes to rebels, they can't afford to take any chances. If snow actually shows up on the anniversary day, it'll be a major disaster. One of them mentions that the captain might be returning early, but the other quickly shuts him up, saying that's above their pay grade. Cut to Andy's father in the holding cell. He yells out, trying to catch the vice captain's attention. He pleads for mercy, swearing it's his first time and he'll never do it again. He even tries to bring up the vice captain's wife, how his buddies run the best postnatal care center in Chusey County. The deputy stops him, asking if he's seriously trying to bribe the inspection team now. Turns out, the father used to be part of a guild himself. It's hard to believe how far he's fallen. They warn him that if he keeps pushing it and gets caught bribing officials, this won't just be a case of detention anymore. He should just rest up. He's being transferred to the Awakened prison tomorrow. They advise him to cool off, but the father doesn't stop thinking about Andy. Even in the cell, he's fuming. He knows that in 15 days, he'll be out. Andy knows it too, and that's why he's racing against the clock to get stronger. The demon den is his only option. Demon dens can pop up anywhere, portals to a parallel dimension filled with demonic beasts and magical resources. Most are taken over by guilds the moment they're discovered. But Andy found this one because, in his last life, it wasn't detected until 5 years later, after the demon invasion began. This particular one is probably an F-rank dungeon, based on the energy levels. That means it would normally require 3 E-rank Awakened to handle it. An E-rank team usually has 5 members, a mix of E and D rankers. But right now, Andy's going in solo. It's all he's got. As he arrives, he notices a reddish glow at the entrance. Inside, the environment is freezing cold, an ice element zone. He guesses it's full of ice monsters. Despite the chill, he pushes forward. Eventually, he notices signs someone had passed through recently. Then he spots an icefield bear, E8 rank, in hibernation. That's when he senses movement behind him. A forest wolf attacks, bloodthirsty, aggressive. Andy blocks it with his sword and dodges as best he can. The wolf keeps its eyes locked on him and strikes again, but Andy fights back and takes it down in one slash. His blade, a rare A-rank Kuinwu blade forged from Kuinwu stone, is something you can't even find on the market. It fills the gap in his current combat abilities. It's insanely sharp, has lifesteal and armor penetration stats, but beast defenses are still crazy tough. Even if you hit a vital spot, it can take 3 to 4 strikes to bring one down. Andy starts missing the old days when he was L-rank, when things were simpler. Now, as an E-rank, it'll take killing at least 20 wolves just to level up once. And you need 10 levels to go from E to D. Then more wolves show up. He hears barking echoing through the icy cave. It's a full pack, hungry and fierce, and leading them is their king, a level 4 cloud element beast, still E-level but way stronger than average. Andy realizes the blood smell must have drawn them all in. He's surrounded now, and it looks like they're all about to pounce. In the middle of the huge pack of wolves, Andy wonders if they're about to swarm him all at once. But with a swift move, he starts landing critical hits on their vital points. He dodges several attacks and counters with powerful slashes. Each critical strike deals serious damage. His hit rate is going strong. As time goes by, more and more wolves fall. Then, with one final sharp movement, he cuts down dozens more. The result? About 18 snow wolf fangs. That's when the bloodthirsty Wolf King shows up. Without wasting a second, Andy rushes in and unleashes a flurry of rapid slashes. It goes down, and he's rewarded with a Snow Wolf Diamond. With that, he smoothly levels up to E-rank level 2 and gains 12 stat points. He only killed about 20 wolves, but he's already feeling exhausted. The stamina of an E-rank body is still too limited. He really needs to find a dimensional backpack. Without it, he'll have to leave most of the loot behind. Most demon dens are monopolized by guilds, making it hard for solo awakeners to level up. The only real way to access higher level dens is by joining the Guild of Gods. The Awakener School is run by the guild to screen potential recruits for its teams. For most students, the goal is to graduate with top marks and get selected. If you're kicked out of the team, your growth basically stops there. That's what happened to Andy's father, stuck at C rank forever after being dropped from the guild team. Still, solo grinding is too slow for Andy. On top of that, the freezing temperature is draining his stamina faster than he expected. To make things worse, a whole new wave of wolves arrives and charges at him. Andy starts running, with the pack chasing close behind. But even while escaping, he slashes at the trees along the path, hoping falling branches and debris will block or even take out some of them. Unfortunately, all that chaos ends up attracting even more monsters. Now, completely surrounded by various kinds of beasts, Andy realizes there's only one fast way to clear this up: a huge explosion. The noise from earlier was enough to stir up all the monsters in the area. Andy hopes that the one he's been waiting for is awake now too. And sure enough, a massive paw comes crashing down on a nearby wolf. It's the awakened Tundra Bear, a B-level, giant, cloud-type demonic beast. The beast is in a full-blown rage, attacking anything in sight. Its power is boosted by 20%, and it's not holding back. Seeing the chaos, Andy decides to use the situation to his advantage. While the bear goes wild on the other monsters, he joins in, hitting anything that moves. The monsters don't stand a chance. Andy doesn't even have to do much. Just dodge, clean up the stragglers, and collect the drops. Notifications keep popping up. He's gaining EXP fast and picking up loot from the fallen wolves. E-rank beasts may be aggressive, but they're not exactly smart. Soon enough, Andy levels up to E-rank level 4 and earns 12 stat points to distribute as he likes. This bear is doing more than just rampaging. It's unintentionally drawing all the aggro and saving Andy a ton of stamina. But to actually get the EXP from any kill, he still has to land the final hit. If not, all the effort goes to waste. Behind him, more monsters are still lurking, waiting for their turn to pounce. And even with the bear's help, Andy is seriously worn out. It's time to wrap this up and move on to the next phase. He grips his sword tightly. After causing this much destruction, the area's barely holding up. The ice is thinning, the battlefield's on the edge. And then, with one solid strike to the ground, he draws the attention of the monster bear and all the others. As the slash hits, a thin crack spreads across the icy surface. Andy had been paying close attention to the surroundings. This wasn't just any frozen battlefield. It was actually an ice bridge connecting two canyons. The crack deepens just enough. The monsters tumble through it, falling into the abyss below. They're wiped out instantly. The flood of EXP from the mass takedown pushes Andy all the way to level 7. He smirks. Most of the demonic beasts are gone now. Just a few remain behind him, including that massive bear. With the stamina he has left, he figures he can take care of the rest. This is by far his fastest power-up yet. As a bonus, he even unlocks a new title, 1 against 100. Now, whenever he's up against multiple enemies, all of his stats get a 10% boost. But even in the middle of all this, one thought keeps nagging at him. Every demon den has a leader, a boss. For an E-rank den like this one, it should be something like the brutal Lion King of E10. So, Where is it? Was all this noise really not enough to wake it? Before he can think further, the monsters around him start acting nervous. Something's wrong. And then he sees it, ice magic blasting across the battlefield, freezing monsters in an instant. Some of it even hits him. He dodges most of it, but one blast catches his leg. It starts freezing over. It wasn't a random attack. The real boss had been watching, waiting for everyone's stamina to drop and for them to walk right into this perfect trap. Now the bear and the other monsters are frozen solid, completely out of the fight. Andy knows what's coming. This is it. The final boss is about to show itself. He pushes forward, but his leg is already freezing, and he's right next to a steep valley. Worse yet, the so-called ice bridge beneath him is a trap too. A forged battlefield made to collapse when the time is right. Andy knows he has to act fast. The boss is just waiting to swoop in at the last second to steal all the rewards. And if he doesn't figure something out soon, it just might succeed. Andy can't help but wonder, how could a boss-level creature like this be hiding in such a low-level area? Something's definitely off here. And then, just as he suspects, a new monster appears. But this one is clearly different. It's intelligent. This isn't just another brute. Standing tall in front of him is the level 11 Cloud Elemental, Maze Cave Lord, King of the Azure Forest. And he's not alone. Beside him are two level 10 E-rank Cloud Demon Warrior Lieutenants, demonic monkeys, agile and dangerous. One of them locks eyes with Andy and smirks. That smirk says it all. It's already sizing him up, confident, almost mocking him. Andy, still frozen from the earlier ice attack, feels the tension rising. His body stiff, locked in place. Slowly, the ice spreads completely over him. Now he's trapped, helpless. If this keeps up, he'll lose all body heat soon. The monkeys start moving, getting ready to strike. Andy's mind races. He knows he only has one option left, but he has to choose fast. One of the monkeys is already mid-air, fist ready to smash into him. Then, crack! The ice right above Andy shatters just in time. As the monkey's punch connects, something unexpected happens. Andy manages to block. And not just any block. He redirects the entire force of the monkey's blow right back at it. The mage watching from above clearly didn't see that coming. It flinches, visibly shaken by the counter. But pulling that off took everything Andy had. Breaking the ice drained an enormous amount of his stamina. To do it, he had to use a special skill, Shatter, a high-tier awakened ability that channels all the user's energy to instantly break free from any controlled state, but at a heavy cost. Now, Andy won't be able to cast another high-level spell anytime soon. He'll need time to recover, and more importantly, he can't afford to get frozen again. Luckily, the mage seems to have a cooldown too. That freezing spell was powerful, and from the looks of it, it can't be spammed. Andy figures he's got a window, a small one, to turn things around, but then the mage raises its hand again, starting a new spell. Andy immediately feels a shift. Something's wrong. The bear that had gone berserk earlier? It's now standing beside the wolves, and all of them are staring him down, roaring. Unified. Is the mage trying to control them? Andy can feel the pressure mounting. That bear is massive, and its roar alone sends a chill down his spine. This is bad, really bad. He might have been able to handle the monkeys, maybe even the wolves, but all of them together, led by a mage and a berserk bear? That's pushing it. He grips his weapon tighter, knowing he's got to make this next move count. Above him, the mage stands like a conductor orchestrating the chaos, as the army of monkeys, wolves, and the bear waits for its signal. Andy knows if more enemies show up now, there's no way he's surviving this. And right then, the monkeys make their move, charging in, weapons raised. Andy blocks the hit. His chances of winning here, basically zero. But even so, he keeps fighting with everything he's got. More monkeys start charging toward him, weapons raised, eyes glowing with bloodlust. Andy slams his sword into the ground. It's no use. His strength is gone. He drops to one knee, breathing heavy. Then the bear starts moving slow, heavy steps shaking the frozen ground as it approaches him like an executioner. Andy forces himself back with a quick roll, landing on his feet just in time. He glares up at the beast, his body freezing, muscles stiff, breath visible in the icy air. The cold is draining him fast. He's surrounded. It's not just a fight anymore, it's survival. And then the mage starts smirking. He raises a hand, Ice Storm Raid. Andy's heart sinks. That was the one attack he'd been dreading the most. He didn't expect the cooldown to be so short. If that spell hits him again and freezes him, it's over. But Andy's been through this kind of thing before. In his past life, he faced so many near-death situations that he developed a gut instinct for survival, for spotting the one thread of opportunity in the middle of chaos. And right now, he sees only two options. Option 1, stay and keep fighting, but his stamina is gone. Even if he tanks the hits, he won't last long against high-level demon beasts swarming him from all sides. Option 2, run. Jump off the edge of the cliff into the valley below. Risky? Definitely, but it's his only shot. His legs already partly frozen. Then the ice creeps up fast, wrapping around his whole body again. But this time, he's already made his decision. The monsters freeze in shock as Andy, now encased in ice, throws himself backward off the cliff. Even the monkey mage looks stunned. None of them expected that. Down he goes, falling fast, like a block of ice plummeting through the air. Meanwhile, somewhere far away, in the quiet of a small house, Andy's mom walks into his room. She thinks he's just sleeping in. It is the weekend, after all, but the bed's empty, and then she sees it, a letter. Her heart sinks. This isn't right. If Andy was just going to a friend's house, he would have told her. Why leave a note? Something's wrong. Deep down, she knows it. Ever since he came home yesterday, he's been acting strangely distant, like a completely different person. A wave of unease washes over her. Back in the dungeon, cold river water flows past broken debris and shards of frost. When the ice bridge collapsed, nearly 100 demonic beasts fell into the gorge along with Andy. Some of them didn't survive the fall. Some did. Andy coughs, weakly pulling himself onto a rock. He's soaked, shivering, and barely conscious. His vision blurs as he looks up at the cave ceiling far above. He made it, just barely. He starts dragging himself forward, scoffing between ragged breaths. That fall cleared the S-rank ice wolf lair. He guesses he must have taken out around 60 monsters, but he only leveled up 3 times. That means 40 of them probably survived the fall too. He glances down at his system status. Hypothermia, continuous blood loss, status weakened. On top of that, the impact from falling into a river from such a height almost broke his body. He's cold, drenched, bleeding, and still alive, but barely. He lays back for a moment, eyes closing as he wonders, is this finally his limit, or can he still push forward? Even though Andy's completely exhausted, body battered, stamina nearly gone, the monster still stands tall in front of him, its jaws open wide, ready to devour him whole. A level 9 E-grade fierce beast, huge, feral, and cruel. Andy's vision blurs for a second, and his thoughts start drifting. He remembers the old days, how he used to mess around with his friends, how they'd call him boss as they snuck out for late-night snacks or aimless city runs. They were good times. He even remembers someone he once looked up to, his own boss, back when he wasn't strong yet. His mother's face flashes through his mind too. The way she used to fuss over his injuries, gently asking if it hurt. No matter how bad things were, she was always there, always worried. But now there's no one here to care. Just enemies. Enemies who stand in front of him, mocking him, laughing, taunting him like he's a joke. One of them, the one who betrayed him, the one who ruined everything, his own father. They say he's finished, that he's reached his limit. And maybe that's true, but Andy doesn't accept it. He tells himself he can't have limits. Not anymore. Not in this life. There's no room for regrets. So as the lion beast lunges, and its jaws close in, Andy suddenly grabs hold of its fangs, stopping it mid-bite. Even the monster looks surprised. With rage burning in his eyes, Andy growls that he won't let it happen again. Not the pain, not the failure, not the helplessness. He's already lost once, already died once. So this time, no more mercy. He kicks the monster square in the jaw with every bit of strength left in his body, sending it flying backward. He's still shaking, still tired, but somehow he's standing. And then something shifts. An aura begins to form around him, pulsing, alive. The beast rises again, snarling, but now Andy doesn't flinch. He's changed. A phrase echoes in his mind, only desperation can trigger a professional's advancement. And that's exactly what this is. Soloing a demon cave, drawing out magical beasts, jumping off a cliff. All of it, every crazy move, was part of pushing himself past the edge. And now, it's working. He's finally awakened his aura. No matter how many enemies surround him, whether they're ahead or behind, it doesn't matter anymore. He's ready. The lion beast charges again, its broken fangs glinting as it roars. But Andy's not the same guy it tried to eat a few minutes ago. This time, he's faster, stronger, sharper. This time, it's his turn. Every desperate situation he's thrown himself into, he did it to chase this exact feeling. That high, that rush, that unshakable determination that only comes when everything's on the line. And now, he feels it again. That surge of adrenaline, that fire in his veins. This is what rebirth feels like. The system blares a notice. Class advancement failed. Conditions not met. Andy clenches his fists, annoyed, but not surprised. Still, he didn't come away empty-handed. Despite failing to officially advance his class, he somehow unlocked a powerful skill far earlier than expected. Core system. Holy Swordsman Pure Land. Not the full class, but the ultimate skill. That alone is a game changer. He smirks a little. That's more than enough to turn the tables. Just in time, too. The monster in front of him lets out a deafening roar and charges. Andy doesn't back off. He dashes forward and with a single sweeping strike activates Pure Land. A wave of radiant energy explodes from his blade, washing across the battlefield. Monsters stop mid-motion. One by one, they start collapsing. The system floods his vision with pop-ups. All surrounding enemies defeated. XP gained. Items acquired. Rank up. B-class achieved. Status effect cleared. Fatigue plus stamina restored. New title unlocked. Ice Field Wanderer. Ultimate skill learned. Pure Land. The Pure Land side effect kicks in like a dream. Fatigue gone. Stamina maxed out. It's like he just woke up from a full night's rest, and he's stronger than ever. Andy lets out a slow breath. Everything's clicking into place. The monsters, nothing but warm up now. He starts cutting down wave after wave with ease. Ice beasts that had pushed him to the edge before now fall without slowing him down. It doesn't even feel cold anymore. Thanks to the Ice Field Wanderer title, his freeze resistance is through the roof. As he levels up again, level 9 now, he's starting to feel like he's becoming the kind of monster his enemies used to fear. He reflects on Pure Land's mechanics. The skill stores all the damage and fatigue he takes, and then releases it in one massive area-wide strike. It's not just powerful, it's strategic. The more desperate the situation, the deadlier the payoff. And the passive effect? Continuous stamina and fatigue recovery. He couldn't have asked for a better gift. Time is blurry now. Andy has no idea how long he's been in the dungeon. But one thought starts weighing heavy again. He needs to get back soon. His mom's probably worried sick by now. He climbs a jagged cliff, pushing through layers of frost and shattered rock, and finally reaches the top. There, standing quietly in the center of a snowy plateau, is a worn-down structure, something between a shrine and a small temple. Inside it, a familiar figure sits in meditation. A demon monkey, but not just any, the one he's been hunting. As Andy steps forward, the monkey's eyes snap open. It senses him immediately, and chaos erupts. But Andy doesn't even flinch. His sword is already out. He's been waiting for this. He narrows his eyes and tells the creature, calm but cold. They meet again. He's at level 10 now, and after defeating the carved ice field bear, he's no longer the same guy who had to jump off a cliff to survive. No, now he's the predator, and this monkey's going down next. Perfect time to hype the video up. I would really appreciate it. Back home, Andy's mother paces around, growing more and more anxious. She keeps glancing at the clock, wondering why Andy hasn't come back yet. He's never usually this late. She's already cooked his favorite meal, setting the table and hoping he'll walk through the door any second. A part of her hopes he's just being reckless again, not hurt. She mutters under her breath, wishing he wouldn't push himself too hard. But Andy has no idea about any of that right now. He's deep inside a dungeon, locked in a brutal showdown with his toughest enemy yet, the monkey mage bastard he's been chasing. The monkey's not alone, of course. There's a whole squad of them guarding the area, but Andy has already taken out a good number. Still, the mage is holding his ground behind the pack, watching carefully. The moment the mage locks eyes with Andy, he lifts a finger and signals. One of the monkeys immediately launches at him. Andy reacts in a flash, blocking the blow and countering with a clean, brutal slash that sends the monkey crashing into the floor. Down in one hit, the mage's expression shifts. This wasn't expected. He quickly casts Ice Storm Assault, trying to trap Andy in a whirlwind of freezing clouds. But that doesn't work. Andy's cloud-type resistance has already kicked in thanks to his Ice Field Wanderer title. The freezing effect barely even touches him. To the mage's dismay, nothing sticks. This is Andy's opening. He charges forward, ready to close the distance and end it. But the remaining monkeys aren't about to let him through easily. They swarm him again, forcing him to back off briefly. And that's when Andy senses it. An opportunity. He focuses, then activates Instant Flash. His body blurs, dashing through the swarm like a streak of light. One by one, the monkeys fall, unable to even react. They barely register what's happening before they're down. Even the mage can't keep up. Andy's blade slices through the chaos, and the mage loses an arm in the blink of an eye. He doesn't stop. Andy keeps going, slashing relentlessly until the monkey mage is reduced to nothing but silence and light particles. System notification. Level 11 D-rank monster defeated. King of the Blue Forest, Cloud Mage Leader. EXP plus 1000. Rank up achieved. D-class, Nuclear Fighter. The surrounding monkeys freeze in terror. Their leader is gone, and they're too stunned to even run. Andy stands still for a second, breathing heavily, sword still humming with leftover energy. He's leveled up again, but something else is happening too. Items drop all around him, scattered like confetti from a piñata. But just as he moves to collect them, the system interrupts him. Cloud elemental energy has reached critical threshold. A new profession is awakening. Requirements met. Red profession unlocked. Profession acquired. Level 1 E-grade cloud mage. Andy blinks in surprise. A red profession? He hadn't even realized how much cloud elemental energy he had gathered during this battle. All those icy spells, cloud effects, and freezing magic, they weren't just dangerous, they were fuel. Now, he has the option to switch professions at will between his brutal, close-range nuclear fighter and this new, mysterious cloud mage path. Andy smirks. This dungeon run started as a survival test. Now it's turning into his awakening. Even though it's just an E rank, Andy quickly realizes this new cloud mage profession isn't some throwaway class. It's red grade, which means it comes with a 200% stat boost, and the moment he checks the numbers, they're already comparable to his current D-rank warrior form. On top of that, the system drops a reward. Item obtained, D-grade magic bag, capacity, 20 items. Nice, that'll come in handy. Around him, the surviving monkeys still haven't moved. They're just watching. Every time Andy picks something up, they flinch. It's like they've already given up, too afraid to even breathe wrong around him. He doesn't blame them. His aura has changed. Red sparks now swirl around him with a soft hum. It's not just strength anymore. There's something different about this power. Something unfamiliar, but exhilarating. There are still a few grunts lurking, but Andy doesn't even hesitate. He switches to cloud mage mode for the first time and prepares to test out what this profession is truly capable of. Meanwhile, back home, his mother sits by the table, still waiting. The food on the plate has gone cold, untouched. She glances at the clock. Again, her fingers grip the edge of the tablecloth. She whispers to herself, "Please be okay. Just come back safe." Then the door opens. She shoots up from her seat in an instant. Andy steps in, brushing dust off his clothes. He looks exhausted but still stands tall. "Sorry, Mom," he says with a weak smile. "I made you wait too long." But she doesn't say a word. Instead, she rushes over, throws her arms around him, and hugs him tight, burying her face in his shoulder. The tears come instantly, pouring out like they've been waiting for hours to fall. She doesn't care about apologies or explanations. She just needs to hold her son. Andy gently hugs her back, smiling softly. "Wait," he asks, looking around. "You were waiting this whole time? You didn't even eat." She shakes her head, wiping her tears. Andy sighs, then grins. "Well, I've got a suggestion," he says. "Want to hear it? 1,000 likes and I will immediately make the next part."